The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler, January 30th, Blessed Sebastian Valfrè. Sebastian Valfrè was born in Verduno, Piedmont in 1629. His parents were poor and his family was large. From his childhood, he decided to become a priest and worked to pay for all his studies, copying books. It is said that when he left home, the only thing his parents could give him was a barrel of wine. Sebastian entered the congregation of the Fathers of the Oratory in Turin on the feast of St. Philip in 1651. A year later, he was ordained a priest and sang his first Mass in Verduno for the consolation of his parents. From the first moment, he gave himself wholeheartedly to the fulfillment of his priestly duties. A remarkable fact was that from the arrival of the Blessed, the Oratory of Turin, which until then had been in decline because of many difficulties, began to prosper and to attract the people. Sebastian's first position was that of prefect of the Little Oratory, that is, a confraternity of lay people who came together for the exercises of piety. The Blessed held the office for many years with great fruit, and his extraordinary gift for enthusing young people seems to have won him the post of Master of Novices. In 1661, having reached the canonical age of 40, he was elected superior against his will. It is said that his government was a perfect imitation of that of St. Philip, both for the care of observance down to the smallest details, and for Sebastian's great kindness to the sick, for whom nothing seemed too good. In the meantime, the reputation of the Blessed as a director of souls had been spreading. He spent long hours in the confessional, which he attended with scrupulous punctuality, and in his exhortations to the community, he insisted much on the need for frequent confession. All kinds of people went to confession with him, finding him always ready to do anything for those who needed help or showed a serious desire for perfection. On the other hand, he was implacable with the false and seemed to enjoy a supernatural gift or power of telepathy to discover insincerity. Among his penitents was Duke Victor Amadeus II, later King of Sardinia, who in 1690, with the consent of Pope Alexander VIII, strove in vain to persuade him to accept the archiepiscopal see of Turin. Blessed Sebastian sometimes preached 3 sermons a day. He also undertook long missionary expeditions to the surrounding districts and sometimes even to Swiss territory, with great success in conversions. In addition, he devoted much time to the instruction of the young and the ignorant. He used to gather the beggars who went to the oratory to ask for alms and gave them food for the body and soul. He was indefatigable in his visits to hospitals and prisons and had a special sympathy for the soldiers whose difficulties he understood and pitied. Like his model, St. Philip, the Blessed was always cheerful, so that people considered him to have a light and carefree character. This is all the more remarkable because we know, moreover, the terrible story of his desolations and inner trials. He was often tempted to feel left out of God's hand and to believe that he had lost his faith and was destined for hell. In spite of this, even when he was approaching 80 years of age, he never ceased in his labors for souls, preaching in the open air, in the depths of winter, to the first group of lost people he met. Moreover, when it seemed expedient for the glory of God, he was not afraid to enter the very dens of vice. Strange as it may be, God seems to have abundantly blessed his daring, for the rudest ruffians were impressed by the sanctity of the blessed man and did not dare to raise their voices when he criticized their vices in the harshest terms. His life could serve as a model for all pastors in cities where vice and misery abound, and there is nothing extraordinary in the fact that the contemporaries of the Blessed considered him a saint. There are many examples of his gift of reading hearts and making prophecies that came true. Among other things, it seems that the Blessed knew several months beforehand the exact date on which he was going to die. God called him to himself at the age of 81 on January 30th, 1710. He was beatified in 1834.